Let's talk about fighting, man. You're 6 fights deep into your UFC career, man. The platform that the UFC creates, it's a pretty hectic environment, man. A legit roller coaster ride for you guys. Were there any moments where it wasn't fun for you?
Uh, I lost more of my fun running the business. That's taken a lot of fun out because you start looking at things at a different aspect. And I opened up my gym like right before, or like I literally opened my gym up during COVID. Like the moment I got my contract and stuff, I was literally coming off my like literally setting up the gym and stuff like that. And I started training to get ready for this fight, for my contender series fight, and it like all hell broke loose for me. And it like running a business, it starts draining me, and it's it's been like my UFC career feeds into this business of mine, and honestly, the business hasn't helped my I find it hard being a full time fighter and a full time business owner, and one of them suffers when I'm doing one or the other. If I actually have to be a business person, my fighter suffers. If I'm being a fighter, the business suffers. And it's a brutal thing, and that I get. Why don't you just get more people? Like, why don't you get more employees? And I'm just like, if it was that easy, I wouldn't be in this predicament.
Yeah.
Plus, I live in Hemet, and it's basically a shut-in little town in Hemet or in California, especially Southern California. Like we're close to the IE, we're close to everything, but we're also very far away from everything. You say, Ava, be quiet. God, she just was wailing for no reason.
Kids, man.
They're
Kids.
overrated. They're overrated.
They're overrated. Yeah. Sometimes they are, man. I'm not gonna lie to
Oh,
you. Sometimes they
like I tell everyone that doesn't have kids, protection, headshots. Best, best advice you could take. Don't is it? Don't listen to her if like, oh, I can't have kids or I'm on this. No, protection and headshots. Do yourself the favor. Don't
hey.
lie to yourself. I want kids. No, you don't. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing that they sell to people, right?
uh,
on, on
yeah,
TV.
yeah. No, like all the friends that have kids, like, oh, they're amazing. It's like, yeah, you're lying. You're an asshole. Like everyone's like, oh, do you recommend kids? No, no, I don't. It's like it is a 0-star rating. Not enjoyable for anybody.
Not very good Yelp reviews on that one, huh?
Yeah, a lot of 1 stars for sure.
All right, man. You're gonna return October 29th. It's about around like a 4 month turnaround. Was there any part of you that wanted to take more time to, work on things, or did the UFC just offer something that you couldn't refuse?
No, I feel like I wasn't at a point to kind of refuse anything. You know, like considering I've lost the last 3, 4 fights or some shit like that, like terribly too. That like I can't really be in the room to be like, no, no. And granted, the UFC was, been gracious enough to even allow me to have my fourth fight on my contract. Reason I think being is I've accepted. I think in the last year alone, I think 6 or 7 fights.
Yeah.
2 or 3 of them didn't even go into like paperwork because, like, I remember at the beginning of the year I was supposed to fight Chris Barnett. Like the day I got all my medicals done, get cleared for the UFC, I'm like, yeah, I'm clear. My manager was like, about that. The fight got canceled. I'm like, oh, why? He's like, injury. I'm like, all right. And then that's how the Orlowski thing happened. Then from the Orlowski thing, Olenek came up 2 or 3 times. Like, oh, you want to take it? I'm like, sure. Oh, okay, never mind. They postponed an Olenek's fight. I'm like, all right, cool. Then again, the following week, they're like, hey, you want to fight Olenek? I'm like, I guess so. Then we fast forward to Chase. I was hoping a little bit more than 2 weeks on that one. I was like hoping a month or so to prepare myself a little bit better. And I felt like maybe it'd be a fun fight if we both got more than a week, 2 week notice. So I was hoping we both give about 4 weeks and just punch each other, and we did that. It just I was on the bad end of that in the last round. So then they offered me another fight. I was like, I guess I'm going to take it because I felt like if I just couldn't really say no. I was just in that one position, so here I am.
Yeah, you took your chances with a few short notice fights, man, and I respect you a lot for that, man, because in the heavyweight division. That's I think like that's more risky compared to like other weight classes. What did you learn from those experiences? Were there any mistakes you made in your preparations that you've changed for this fight coming up?
Oh, well, in a sense, yes. So my last three, like my whole UFC career, I've been with Dan Henderson's Athletic Center, and I
Mhm.
switched to Kings MMA literally like the week after the Chase fight.
Mhm.
And it was just something I felt like I needed to do. I needed just different views, different looks, different mindsets going into this fight. And I think now it's been a very good positive thing for me. Um, and I've noticed, and a lot of people else noticed that you know, they're like, you've lost weight, you look happier, you look healthier. I'm getting a lot of good feedback from people that don't really say anything to me. So I'm like, okay, I must be doing something right. And so I'm hoping I go in this fight. I'm looking for a finish. Which finish? I'm open. Um, Thinking leg locks because I like my heel hooks, but
Yeah.
I mean I'm not going to sell myself short from just TKO, armbar, or a possible knockout.
Mm.
Like I want to finish it just because I feel like I've been kind of lackluster on the finishes, and it's time to solidify myself and kind of rebuild the new.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm still waiting for the heavyweight twister to come out. Like that would be the greatest submission in the history of the UFC if a heavyweight could pull off a twister.
It's not that hard. It's not a practical position most heavyweights go for
Yeah.
because if you put your a lot of times it's kind of just like reaching for the head in the wrong place and bad things happen.
Mhm.
So I mean, I've done the twister myself on multiple people, even heavyweights. It's not the craziest move, but it's usually against someone that just wilding out versus
Yeah.
more someone like tactical. Like
Mm.
one heavyweight I could see pulling it off would be either Verdum or Olenek. Um, Outside of that, I don't see a lot of other heavyweights doing it. Uh,
Yeah. But if it does happen, it would be an incredible sight to see
it
because,
would
like you
be.
said, it's not a position you see very often in heavyweight division. Now your opponent, Cortez Acosta, man, he's undefeated. He's making his debut. What do you see in him as a fighter?
I see a lot of the traditional heavyweight stuff. Big striker, heavy hands, good boxing.
Hmm.
Like he is a boxer. He has boxing bouts and stuff like that. So I see a legit boxer. So I'm going to respect his power. I think most boxers hit just a tad bit harder than MMA fighters. That's why I kind of get annoyed hearing all these MMA fighters like, "Oh, I could box so and so." No, you can't. Shut the fuck up. Sit your ass down and grapple fuck somebody. Sorry, Kamaru Usman, you're not going to beat Canelo or Triple G. I'm sorry. Like if you're going to wrestle them, but fuck it, hands down, you're going to whip their ass. MMA, you too. I got you on MMA and wrestling. Straight boxing, you're great, but they are far better. And people need to understand it's a boxing fight. They've trained to hit harder than what we do in MMA, despite what people want to believe.
Yeah, and do you see like some similarities in Waldo with Justin Tafa?
No.
No.
Because Toffo was more of a Muay Thai guy.
Yeah.
And Toff was a lefty, whereas I would try to lean more towards Chase, but even then, Chase was I think he's more of a Muay Thai fighter than a boxer, whereas Waldo is legitly a boxer. So I think he does throw a few kicks in there. He's not kick heavy. He has the power. We've seen that multiple
Yeah.
times. Now, good thing is when it comes to boxer heavy fighters, I have not lost to a heavily boxer
Yeah.
style fighter. So that kind of go in there. I'm like, yes, I have somewhat confidence in
Mhm.
handling it. I like I said, I've fought a lot of professional boxers that go into MMA. They've done well, and then I actually have done pretty damn good myself against boxers in MMA. So I'm hoping I'm leaning a little bit towards that to kind of give me a little bit more extra courage and confidence throughout the rest of this training camp. Um, yeah, and honestly, it's been a tough fucking camp. It's maybe been my hardest camp in God knows how long.
But you get a sense of confidence from that, right? Like that you put in that work and so much work. You're tired and does anger ever become an emotion that comes up like when you're heading into a fight against a guy? Like
Anger's honestly, I would say no. I haven't been angry fighting or going against the fight. Like I don't know. Anger is not the ones that I more or less suffer from. Like a lot of people sit there. I get a lot of shit for low IQ stuff.
Mhm.
My problem is I over fucking think. That's my like instead of getting angry, I start overthinking because like I also think like a coach, and a lot of people don't understand that. Like if I change levels, my next thought is they're going to start either showing me the knee or throwing knees. So now if I change levels, I'm mentally preparing for a knee. And because I'm mentally preparing for that knee that might not ever even be shown or even thought of from the opposing person, I get rid, uh, you know, I hold myself back from actually shooting. I hold myself back from doing it because I overthink everything. And that's my biggest flaw. It's one of my hugest flaws where I'm like, okay, if I shoot, I can take him down and I can be better than him on the ground. But he could throw his hip into me. He could throw a knee, and he could head kick me, and all these other little things come in, and the doubt starts sinking, and you start questioning yourself. And then when you start questioning yourself, that's when things start, tearing apart.
Yeah.
You're like you're doing good, and then you're like, oh, what if this and that? If I do this, they should do that. Like, it sucks because it's it's not always as intense as I make it out to be.
It's like you're having a chess match with yourself in your mind.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it's like okay, if I step left, he's throwing a hook or a leg kick. Okay, if I step right, he's throwing this and that. I'm just like fucking a. He might just be tired and he's not going to throw shit. But because I'm so overthinking what he might possibly could do or should do, I don't react the proper way either because I'm preparing for X, Y, and Z when he's thinking one, two, three.
Do you feel like you're gonna be able to, you know, change that in this fight? Do you feel confident that your coaches have implemented the right things in your mind?
Uh, kind of. I've definitely taken a vastly different approach to this camp, and I kind of had to because, like I said, I was at Dan's and I've been there for like 8 years. And when you switch to another camp, instead of like, oh, my ways are the right ways, they're like, no, my ways weren't doing me any favors. I've been losing. So I'm like, I need to go to a different gym. I need a different mindset. I need a different set of, guidance and rules and stuff like that and see how that plays out. Like that's all I could do. It's like I had to move myself out of environment, force myself to change and hopefully for the better, not the worse.
Yeah, it takes a lot to do that too. You know what I mean? To look yourself in the mirror and say like you're wrong. You know what I mean? Because you're battling yourself.
Yeah, and like for me, it was even harder. Not only for that, because like I'm like, okay, I'm wrong here. I'm not doing the right things. I need to switch. Now, I also own a gym, Team Quest. I'm franchised under Dan's. So that was a big worry for me. I was like, fuck, am I going to lose the franchising? I'm like, I'm paying everything that I need to. I'm doing all that. I'm like, will this affect business relations? And luckily, no. I've been very forward. I've talked to them and we are on great terms. Like there's no animosity, and they all understand. They're like, hey, we get that you want to better yourselves, and at the end of the day, if we can't do it, you gotta find it and do it yourself, because at the end of the day, it's your career, your body on the line, not ours. And so, like, so there's no animosity of me switching to Kings. I'm still business heavily with Team Quest and Dan Henderson. Everything is good, smooth sailings, and that's the best I could do right now.
Yeah. If someone's gonna understand, it'd be Dan Henderson, man. The guy's been
Yeah.
through everything.
Oh
He's
yeah.
seen the whole sport become what it is right now. You know what I mean? Like he lived
Yeah,
through it.
and
So
yeah, and he literally helped make it, and literally his last fight was a title fight. Like the dude was top tier for a long time, even into his 40s. It's one of those things where like when he definitely had a lot of faith in me, and he also understands what it's like to own a business and stuff like that. So it's really nice to kind of get his approval and understand. And he also understood that there really wasn't any heavyweights at my gym.
yeah.
So he also understood that. He goes, okay, you are my only real big guy, so I get why you don't want to be here. Because literally it was me, and the next one is I think maybe a 185er or who sometimes goes even 170. And I'm like, dude, I'm a lot bigger than you.
Yeah.
Even on my best day and your worst day, I'm still a good 60 to 80 pounds heavier than you.
You know, what's the perfect night for you, man, on October 29th? You know, how do you want to get this stuff done?
The perfect night, I haven't thought of it. For me, a perfect night is my hand being raised, regardless if it's first, second, third, or decision. That's the perfect night. I could care less. I just want the results with my arm being raised. That's the perfect night for me right now, because that night, going well, it's just one more step into changing things and things working out to the better for me.
All the best to you, Jared, man. You know, go out there and, perform the way, we expect you to perform and get that W. Thank you so much for the time, man.
And thank you for having me, like always.